Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Hello, my dear students. Wish you are fine. I'm Mrs. Sama Hassan from Taqwa. Let's start our session today. Unit 1, Periodic Motion. Lesson 1, Oscillatory Motion. In this lesson, inshallah, we will gonna talk about the meaning of oscillatory motion and the properties of oscillatory motion. Okay, let's start. Let's remember what's meant by motion. Yes, of course, motion means change of object position as time passes. Okay, let's talk about the types of motion. We have two types of motion. The first one is periodic motion. What is called? Yes, periodic motion. The second one is called transitional motion. We talked about transitional motion before, which means what? It is the change of object from starting point to ending point. What's meant by periodic motion? Periodic motion means motion which is regularly repeated at equal periods of time, at equal time intervals. Let's talk about periodic motion. We have two types of periodic motion. The first one is oscillatory motion. The second one is wave motion. Let's talk about what's meant by oscillatory motion. Oscillatory motion means the motion of oscillatory body around its rest point, around its rest position, where the motion here is regularly repeated at equal time intervals, at equal periods of time. Look here, it's like the motion of swing here. Where is here the rest point? Yes, it's in the middle. And swing move at right side and move at left side. So, oscillatory motion, motion of oscillatory body around its rest point, which is in the center here, at equal time intervals. What's meant by at equal time intervals? The motion here at right side, which is called A, it takes, for example, 2 seconds. And when it returns back to rest position, it takes also 2 seconds. When it moves from rest position to point B at left side, it takes also 2 seconds. And when it returns back again to the rest position, it takes also 2 seconds. So, like we said, oscillatory motion means motion of oscillatory body around its rest point or rest position, where the motion is regularly repeated at equal periods of time. And we conclude that the body moves around its rest position, where the motion is regularly repeated through equal time intervals. And this is called what? Yes, super. It's called oscillatory motion. Okay. The velocity of oscillating body reach its maximum value where when it passes the rest point, the rest position. When this velocity decreases as it moves away from the rest point, it decreases gradually as the body moves away from the rest position. So we conclude that body move around its rest point where the motion regularly repeated at equal periods of time. Number 2, the velocity of the body decreases as we move away from the rest point, and it increases as we go to the rest or passes by the rest point. Okay, let's talk about examples of oscillatory motion. Yes, for example, like we see now, motion of swing. Number 2, amazing. What is called? It's called spring. What else? Stretched string. And what is this? Yes, it's a tuning fork and also simple pendulum. So we have many examples. The first one, motion of swing. Number 2, spring. Number 3, stretched string. Number 4, tuning fork and pendulum. Let's see this question. The motion of rotary pea is considered as periodic motion, but not oscillatory motion. It's a very important give reason question. Why? It's considered as periodic motion, like we said before. Periodic motion means what? The motion which is regularly repeated at equal periods of time, but not considered as oscillatory motion. Why? Because it's not repeated on two sides like we said, right side and left side, around its rest position. So we can say that rotary pea is a periodic motion, but not oscillatory motion. Okay, let's see this exercise. Put right below the figure that represents an example of oscillatory motion. Let's see. The first one is turning fork. Second one is rotary pea. The third one is stretched string. Can you guess? Yes, super. Turning fork is oscillatory motion and stretched string. We talked about in this session about the definition of motion, types of motion, which are transitional motion and periodic motion. And we talked about two types of motion, of periodic motion, which are oscillatory motion and wave motion. And we talked about examples of oscillatory motion. I hope you are enjoying with this session. Thank you. Goodbye.